Well, yesterday I was out shooting this Henry rifle, so today I'm going to take it apart and clean it. I've had a couple of requests to show the disassembly and cleaning procedures for these Winchester replica rifles. So I figure the Henry is a good one to start with because it doesn't get any harder on the 66 or the 73 than doing it on this gun. And you'll see how that goes in a minute. Now I'm going to have to take the entire side plate off here. As you can see, the lever screw, which is the pivot for it, goes right through the side plate, which means when you disassemble this, you've got to take the lever off. And that's a little bit different on the 73. All right, the difference between the 1873 and the Henry and the 66 are these side plates. The 73 actually has a solid frame, and it has a side plate on each side that screws in, and that allows you to get at the action. And really, the good thing about this is you don't have to take the lever and the lifter out to work on a 73 action. To clean it, taking off the side plates really lets you get at everything that you need to get at. You don't have to drop the lifter block. You can clean that. I'll just show you. You know, it jumps up far enough that you can get in here and clean, and then drop it back down, and do the same thing from the top. And really, you can get everything clean that you need to. So this is a lot more convenient. But other than working through the side plate, everything I'm going to show you on the Henry, pretty much you can do on the 66 and the 1873. So here with the 66, the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these two screws, and they control the springs that tension the lifter. And I'm going to put this in a vise, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you right now, the things that you're really going to need are a proper fitting screwdriver and a lot of strength and patience, because there is, I'm sure, a guy in the Uberti factory, and he would be easy to spot because he's got to have arms like Popeye or like a gorilla, whose only job is to torque these screws down so tightly they cannot be removed by a human being without boogering up the screw heads. So if you don't have a good fitting screwdriver, you are absolutely going to booger them up, because Uberti screws, particularly in their rifles, are the tightest things there are to take out the first time. It's just awful. So you've got to be prepared for that. So let me get it in the vise, and we'll start this process off. As I said, the first thing to do is to loosen these tension screws. You do not want to take them out. You just want to back them off, maybe 3, 4, 5 turns, something like that. You want to feel they're turning pretty easily. Okay, with that loose, and you'll know it's loose because the lifter block will kind of move in its slot a little bit, and there'll be almost no pressure on the lever, which is what you want. So the next thing we've got to do is remove the lever screw. Alright, with the lever screw off, this plate right here can come out. And it probably is not going to want to come out very easily. So I'm going to just hit it with the plastic mallet, because it's dovetailed into the sides. And I'll tell you what, this thing is sharp enough to gut a deer with. So you really do want to be kind of careful that you don't cut yourself on any of the edges. So I'm just going to lay that aside. Now, you can see that this is a spring that we just lightened up here. And it would normally press on this, keep everything secure, but with this light we can lightened up, we can take things apart. This is the heart of the Winchester action. This is a toggle link. I'm just going to work this out. Okay, it rides on 3 pivot points. There's a pivot point here in the bolt. There's a pivot point here on the back of the frame. And then there's a pivot point on the lever. And that moves in this slot right here. And that's what allows this to pull the bolt back and forth and lock up when it's fully opened. So I'm just going to put that right here. I'm going to remove this pin because it's going to want to come out anyway. I'm going to leave this pin in if it'll stay. It might not want to stay. I'm going to pull that pin, and the reason I'm going to leave this in is because I don't want to disassemble the bolt. You can, but there's no need to. And if you're going to disassemble the bolt, you have to remove the buttstock, which is a machine screw and a wood screw, pull that off, and then you have to pull this whole lower tang trigger assembly out, which comes out as one unit on an 1873, which is a lot easier. But on a 66, what you're going to have to do to get the hammer and trigger unit out is you're going to have to remove this spring. You're going to have to put a mainspring vise on the mainspring to get the tension off of it. And then remove this hammer and get it out of the way, and then you take the bolt apart in 2 pieces. You pull this pin out, and there's a little linkage right here, a wedge that holds everything together, and you can pull that out. And when this is out, you can kind of work this out. You don't need to do that to clean it. It's not really hard to do, but it'll take you a while, and it's quite a pain in the butt, and you really need to have a mainspring vise to make it all work out well. So I'm going to leave that pin in because I don't want to lose anything on the bolt. Okay, so that side's out. I'm going to flip it over, and this is really the same thing. And that one's coming out a little bit easier, which is good. Lay it that way. Pull this link off. There we go. Lay it there. Alright, now we've got 2 parts in here that are easy to deal with, but we got to get them out correctly. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the pin that's at the top of the lever, and then I can slide the lever out. Now, I'm going to put the pin back in just because I don't want to lose it. Put it down. So you can see there are a lot of parts involved in this. Now, the lifter right here comes right out. I'm going to put that down here. And then the last piece that comes out is the lifter block. And I'm just going to push that out the bottom. There we go. Alright, I'm going to put this on full cock because I want to be able to move the bolt back so I can get in here and clean, and so I can clean the entire bolt. So that's as far as we need to strip it. Alright, now you don't have to do this, but I recommend it. To keep the parts straight, I usually lay them out like this. Alright, so this toggle link goes with that side plate, so I know what side that linkage goes on without having to monkey around with it. Ditto on this. The pin that I pulled out, I'm just putting right there. As I said, I'm keeping this pin inside the lever. Breech block, lever and lifter go together. This is the pivot screw for the lever. And now I can clean it, keep everything organized, and I know where it's going to go. So, pretty simple.